In June 2022, a startling story emerged from China that captured the attention of scientists, journalists, and conspiracy theorists around the world. Researchers working with the largest radio telescope ever built reported detecting a mysterious signal unlike anything they normally encounter while scanning the cosmos. The announcement spread rapidly across international media, fueling speculation that humanity might have stumbled upon evidence of something extraordinary beyond Earth. But before the story could be fully investigated, something unexpected happened. The original report suddenly disappeared. No dramatic explanation, no major follow-up announcement, just silence. Why was the story removed? What exactly did China's giant telescope detect? And could this strange signal have been nothing more than interference? Or the first hint that we are not alone in the universe? In this video, we're uncovering the full story behind the signal that briefly made headlines around the world before seemingly vanishing without a trace. But before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. To understand why this story captured global attention, we first need to understand the incredible machine at the center of it. Hidden among the remote mountains of China's Guizhou province lies one of the most powerful scientific instruments ever constructed by humanity. Known as FAST, the 500-meter aperture spherical telescope, it is the largest single-dish radio telescope on Earth. Stretching more than 500 meters across, its enormous reflective surface is large enough to hold dozens of football fields. Built at a cost of hundreds of millions of dollars and requiring years of engineering innovation, FAST was designed for a single purpose: to listen to the universe with a level of sensitivity never achieved before. Unlike traditional optical telescopes that observe visible light, FAST listens for radio waves traveling across space. These signals can originate from distant galaxies, pulsars, black holes, and other cosmic phenomena located thousands, millions, or even billions of light years away. Because radio waves can travel through dust clouds and across vast interstellar distances, they offer scientists a unique way to explore parts of the universe that remain invisible to conventional telescopes. Every day, FAST collects enormous amounts of data, capturing faint whispers from deep space that would be impossible for most observatories to detect. But FAST isn't just studying stars and galaxies. One of its most fascinating missions is participating in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Scientists involved in these efforts analyze radio signals from space, searching for patterns that appear artificial rather than natural. The logic is simple. If an advanced civilization exists somewhere in our galaxy, it may use technology that produces radio emissions similar to those generated by humanity. Detecting such a signal would be one of the most important discoveries in human history. Most of the time, however, researchers find nothing unusual. The vast majority of signals turn out to be natural cosmic events or interference created by human technology. But in 2022, while examining data collected by this colossal instrument, Chinese scientists noticed something that immediately stood out from the background noise. Something strange enough to trigger a chain of events that would soon make headlines around the world. The signal that didn't belong. The story actually began long before the world heard about it. While processing enormous volumes of observational data collected by FAST, researchers identified several unusual radio signals that appeared different from the countless natural emissions constantly arriving from space. Among millions of ordinary detections, these signals stood out because of their narrow-band characteristics, a feature that immediately catches the attention of scientists involved in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. In nature, radio signals are usually spread across a broad range of frequencies. Pulsars, quasars, and other cosmic phenomena tend to produce complex and often chaotic patterns. But technological signals are different. Human-made radio transmissions, such as radar systems, television broadcasts, and communication networks, are often concentrated within very narrow frequency ranges. Because of this, when astronomers detect a narrow-band signal coming from space, it becomes worthy of closer investigation. According to reports released by Chinese researchers, the team had identified several candidate signals that appeared unusual enough to warrant further analysis. Two of them were reportedly discovered while reviewing older observational data, while another was detected during a targeted survey of nearby star systems believed to host potentially habitable exoplanets. At first glance, the signals did not match the typical patterns researchers expected to see from known natural sources. That did not mean they were alien. Far from it. Scientists are trained to be extremely cautious whenever something unusual appears in their data. Before considering any extraordinary explanation, they must eliminate every possible source of contamination. Modern Earth is surrounded by an ocean of radio noise generated by satellites, aircraft, communication networks, military systems, and countless electronic devices. Even the most sophisticated observatories constantly battle against interference produced by humanity itself. Yet these particular signals were intriguing enough that they attracted serious attention within the scientific community. Researchers began examining the data more closely, attempting to determine whether the source was natural, artificial, terrestrial, or something else entirely. As the investigation continued, word of the discovery eventually reached the media, and that's when the story exploded. Headlines quickly appeared across China and soon spread around the world. Some reports suggested that scientists had detected possible signs of an extraterrestrial civilization. Others described the signals as mysterious radio transmissions from deep space. Within hours, social media was flooded with speculation. For many people, it sounded like the beginning of one of the most important discoveries in history. But just as global interest reached its peak, something unexpected happened. The story suddenly vanished. As news of the mysterious signals spread across the internet, public interest exploded almost overnight. Major media outlets picked up the story, science forums lit up with discussion, and social media users began asking the same question. Had China just detected evidence of an alien civilization? While most scientists remained cautious, the possibility alone was enough to capture the world's imagination. After all, humanity had spent decades listening for signs of intelligent life beyond Earth. Could this finally be the breakthrough everyone had been waiting for? Then, without warning, the story took a bizarre turn. The original report published by Chinese state-affiliated media suddenly disappeared. Visitors attempting to access the article found that it had been removed. No dramatic statement accompanied the decision. No major announcement explained why the report was taken down. Within hours, people began noticing that one of the biggest science stories of the year had seemingly vanished from its original source. The removal immediately triggered a wave of speculation. Online forums filled with theories. Some people wondered whether government officials had intervened to prevent sensitive information from spreading. Others suggested that researchers had discovered something far more significant than they were willing to admit publicly. A few even claimed the disappearance itself was evidence of a cover-up. As screenshots of the original article circulated online, the mystery surrounding the signals became even larger than the signals themselves. But there was another possibility. The story may have been removed for a far more ordinary reason. Scientists involved in projects like these are often extremely careful about how preliminary discoveries are presented to the public. A signal that appears unusual during an initial analysis can later turn out to be nothing more than interference, a processing error, or a previously unknown natural phenomenon. If media reports get ahead of the scientific process, they can create misunderstandings that become difficult to correct later. In a field where extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, premature headlines can be a serious problem. Still, the timing raised eyebrows. The article had been published, the world had noticed, and then it was gone. Whether the removal was simply an effort to prevent misinformation or something more mysterious, the result was the same. Instead of calming public curiosity, it intensified it. People who had never heard of FAST suddenly wanted answers. Researchers found themselves facing questions from around the globe. And the mysterious signals that had initially attracted scientific interest were now at the center of an international controversy. The question was no longer just what the telescope had detected. Now people wanted to know why the story had disappeared at all. What did scientists actually find? As speculation continued to spread across the internet, researchers began clarifying what had really happened behind the scenes. Despite the sensational headlines, no scientist had claimed to discover alien life. The signals detected by FAST were never presented as proof of an extraterrestrial civilization. Instead, they were classified as candidate signals, unusual observations that deserved further investigation before any conclusions could be drawn. This distinction is extremely important. In the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, scientists routinely encounter signals that appear strange at first glance. The challenge is determining whether those signals originate from deep space or from our own technological civilization. Modern Earth is surrounded by an increasingly dense cloud of radio transmissions. Thousands of satellites orbit the planet. Aircraft, communication networks, military systems, and countless electronic devices constantly emit radio waves. Even observatories located in remote regions must carefully filter out enormous amounts of interference before they can study the universe. According to experts familiar with the investigation, the unusual signals detected by FAST displayed characteristics that made them worthy of attention. Their narrow band structure resembled the type of signal researchers often look for when searching for possible technological sources. However, a signal appearing artificial does not automatically mean it came from another civilization. In fact, history shows that many of the most intriguing detections have eventually been traced back to human technology. One of the most famous examples occurred in 1977, when astronomers detected what became known as the WOW signal. The powerful burst of radio energy was so unusual that it generated decades of debate and speculation. Yet despite years of investigation, scientists were never able to confirm its origin. The signal was never detected again. Cases like this demonstrate how difficult it can be to separate genuine mysteries from incomplete data. As more experts examined the FAST observations, many reached a more conservative conclusion. The most likely explanation was that the signals were produced by some form of radio frequency interference. In other words, they may have originated from human technology rather than from deep space. This possibility is so common that astronomers even have a term for it, RFI, or radio frequency interference. It remains one of the biggest obstacles facing modern radio astronomy. Yet not everyone considered the case completely closed. Some researchers pointed out that the signals were unusual enough to justify continued analysis, even if they ultimately proved to be interference. Understanding exactly how and why they appeared could help improve future searches. After all, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence depends on distinguishing the truly extraordinary from the merely unusual. Every strange signal teaches scientists something about how to refine that process. In the end, the most important lesson was not that alien life had been discovered. It was that the search itself had become more sophisticated than ever before. With instruments like FAST scanning the heavens at unprecedented sensitivity, humanity is now listening to the cosmos more carefully than at any other point in history. And somewhere among the billions of stars above us, there may still be signals waiting to be found. The question is whether we'll recognize one when it finally arrives. Are we really alone? Today, years after the mysterious signals made headlines around the world, no definitive answer has emerged. The candidate detections reported by the FAST team have never been confirmed as evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. Most experts continue to believe that the most likely explanation is some form of human-generated radio interference. From a scientific standpoint, the case remains unresolved, but far from revolutionary. And yet, the story refuses to disappear. Not because of what scientists found, but because of what the discovery represents. For the first time in human history, our technology has become powerful enough to monitor the universe on a truly unprecedented scale. Every day, observatories like FAST scan enormous portions of the sky, collecting data from regions of space that previous generations could barely imagine exploring. Hidden within those streams of information may be signals from distant civilizations, natural phenomena we have never encountered before, or entirely new cosmic mysteries waiting to be understood. The truth is that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence has always been a game of patience. Scientists have spent decades listening to the universe and have yet to find a single confirmed message from another civilization. But the galaxy is unimaginably vast. The Milky Way alone contains hundreds of billions of stars, many of them likely hosting planets of their own. Statistically, the possibility that intelligent life exists somewhere beyond Earth remains one of the most fascinating questions in science. And that is why incidents like the FAST signal capture so much attention. Even when a mysterious detection ultimately turns out to be interference, it reminds us how little we truly know about what exists beyond our planet. Every unexplained signal forces scientists to investigate. Every anomaly pushes technology forward. And every false alarm brings us one step closer to recognizing the real thing, if it ever appears. As for the vanished article, its disappearance may have been nothing more than an attempt to prevent premature conclusions. Or perhaps it was simply a reminder of how quickly information can spread before the facts are fully understood. Either way, the removal transformed an ordinary scientific investigation into an international mystery that continues to intrigue people years later. So what did China's giant telescope actually hear? A transmission from another civilization? A rare cosmic phenomenon? Or merely a signal created by humanity itself? For now, nobody knows. But somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the universe is still transmitting its secrets, and humanity is still listening. If you enjoyed this exploration into one of the strangest scientific stories of recent years, make sure to subscribe, because the next mystery might already be waiting out there in the silence of space. Whether the mysterious signal detected by China's giant FAST telescope was simply human interference, a rare cosmic anomaly, or something far more extraordinary, one thing is certain: it reminded the world just how many unanswered questions still exist beyond our planet. A story that began with an unusual radio signal quickly transformed into a global mystery when the report suddenly vanished, leaving millions of people wondering what really happened behind the scenes. And while scientists continue searching for answers, the biggest question remains unresolved. If intelligent life does exist somewhere among the billions of stars in our galaxy, what would happen if we finally received a signal we could not explain away? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Was this just another scientific false alarm? Or could China have briefly detected something truly remarkable? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the mysteries of the universe.